I wanted to make a video about all of the legends in the game and the basics, because there's not really much if you're just looking for the kit and not looking for tips on how to be good. First legend on the list is gonna be Bloodhound. Bloodhound's passive. You basically run around. You can see footprints and see when doors were opened, when somebody was downed, all that kind of stuff. The tactical. You basically do a big scan in front of you, and it goes through walls, and you can see if there's people or traps or whatever else. And then ultimate, you turn into the beast essentially, and your senses are enhanced. You can highlight enemies. You see the tracks more, and you move a lot faster. If you knock down people while you're in your ultimate, it does last longer. So that's going to be that. Next on the list, we got Gibraltar, or Gibby. Gibby's passive is Arm Shield. When you're aiming down sights, you have a gun shield that pops up from your arm. The tactical, you throw a dome down, and it blocks everything from coming in, including airstrikes, grenades, bullets, everything else. And his ultimate basically calls an airstrike on the grenade you throw down. And Gibraltar is fortified, so damage that you receive is 15% less than what you would normally take as anybody else. And his speed is also not slowed down by oncoming fire. Lifeline's passive, so when she goes to revive people, she throws out Doc, which is her little drone, and it revives your teammates without you actually having to stand there. It just automatically does it, so you can still fight while you're reviving people. Her tactical, you throw Doc out just near you, and it heals people around it. Doc does not move. Doc sits in one place, but you stand next to him and he'll heal you up. Her ultimate, throw a care package down, call it in, and it drops basically a giant box full of loot. And it's supposed to be better than what you have. So, better armor or sometimes attachments, I think, but armor's the big one. But also, shields and health and all that kind of stuff. Next we got Pathy. Pathy's passive, insider knowledge. You can scan the survey beacons that are around the map. All the recon characters can scan them, but if you do it with Pathy, it reduces the cooldown of his ultimate, which is throwing a zipline down. His tactical is like a Spider-Man grappling hook type thing. You could swing around different stuff on the map. His ultimate, you throw a zipline down, place it between 2 points. Wherever you're standing is the first point, and then you aim it, and it tells you if you can place it there or not. And it stays there for anybody to use, so keep that in mind. The enemy team can use it too. Next up, Wraith. Wraith's passive. If somebody's aiming at her, she can tell. She just knows. You hear a voice basically that says, oh, somebody's aiming at us, somebody knows where we are. It's good if there's a sniper around somewhere. Tactical basically goes into a portal that only she can use while she's in that void. Takes no damage, but people can see the trail behind you when you are in that void. Her ultimate, basically set the start point. People can shoot you at this point. And you can't interact with doors or anything while you're placing the portal.
I set the portal.
You can either end the portal early and place it wherever you want, or you let the timer run out, and it creates this warp between the two, following the path you ran. Bangalore used to be a lot worse, a lot better now, decent. Her passive, while she's being aimed at, she runs a lot faster, which is extremely helpful. Her tactical, she can fire a smoke launcher. Doesn't have to be where you're at. It's basically a smoke gun that hits a point that you aim at and explodes into smoke. You can use it to, get away from people. People are shooting at you. Just cause chaos in a room if you need to escape or go on the offense. Or if somebody's sniping at you, you can smoke out the sniper and run away, and gives you some time. Her ultimate, throw it down. Similar to Gibby, calls down the airstrikes. You can see where the missiles land. Get the fuck out. And then, yeah, they explode. Next up from Bang, we got Caustic. Caustic, also like Gibby, is fortified, takes less damage from bullets, not slowed down from taking fire. Caustic is pretty much all of his abilities are gas based. His passive lets you see through all that. However, it does not let your teammates see through it. So keep that in mind. You can still blind the hell out of your teammates and they won't be able to see anything. His tactical, you could throw these little canisters down, these traps. You can place up to 6 of them, and when they're, if somebody runs past them, it triggers them and they release smoke, or if they get shot, they release smoke. And the ultimate basically throws a gas grenade down. The gas grenade, similar to Bang and Gibby, holds the grenade first before you throw it, so you can kind of aim it. You throw it down, you can still see through it. It does blind and do damage to your enemies, and it does blind your teammates as well. But it does make it so people can't really see through it, and it does a decent amount of damage. After Caustic here, we've got Mirage. Mirage's abilities, passive. When you use a respawn beacon, you can go respawn them, and he becomes invisible while he does that. His tactical, you can basically throw a decoy out. It's a hologram, and you can control it if you want. It'll mirror your movements, so it does confuse people. And if somebody shoots it, it does tell you, hey, somebody shot your decoy. His ultimate, he deploys an entire group of his decoys. They are centered on a point, but they do mirror all of your movements. And if you run in a circle or get close to that middle point, it can be extremely hard to try and figure out which one's the real one. Octane's the next one. Octane's passive. He passively heals over time, so just from existing, he heals health up. Not shield, but health. It is handy because his tactical, he can stim and basically sprint. However, it does take health to use, and if you just do it constantly, it will drain your health pretty bad. And his ultimate throws a launch pad down, is extremely handy for rotation. Your whole team can use it, it stays there, and it allows you to double jump as well. Next up is Wattson. Wattson, similar to Octane, has a passive regen, but hers is for shields. She slowly regens shields over time, and she also has the ability when you use an ultimate accelerant, it'll fully charge up her ultimate ability, and she can carry more ultimate accelerants than the rest of the legends. They stack up. Her tactical, you place fences down, so similar to Caustic traps, they stay on the map for a good little while. People run through them, kind of paralyzes them for a second, and does some damage to them. Her ultimate ability, she can place down this pylon. All grenades, they just get zapped and basically don't exist. This works for everything from Caustic's ultimate, the grenade, Gibby. When they throw those ultimates down, airstrikes come from the sky. All projectiles are blocked from this pylon. Also, when Wattson stands next to the pylons, her fences regenerate a lot faster. After Wattson, we have Crypto. Crypto is one of those legends, one of those characters to play. If you main Crypto, you're either very good with Crypto or you're very bad. There's not really an in-between. There's not a lot of casual people that play Crypto well. Everything about Crypto is based around this drone. So his passive, when he throws it out, you get a little fly around with it. It highlights teammates for him and all of his enemies. The drone can sit there, and it'll keep those enemies highlighted within that 30 meters of that drone. The tactical is just deploying the drone, and Crypto's ultimate can EMP with the drone. It's basically an area of effect around wherever you EMP, around wherever the drone is. It EMPs that area and does 50 damage to any players around there. Shields, blows them, and it destroys any kind of trap. So if there's Caustic traps, Wattson traps, any type of placed item really, it basically just EMPs it and makes it disappear. So that's the biggest use for it. You know, it gets rid of some of the setup by other teams, and then it also does 50 shield damage. However, if, you know, an enemy team doesn't have any shield, doesn't do any health damage or anything like that. And you can also use Crypto to scan the survey beacon. After Crypto is Revanant. Revanant is interesting. Revanant's passive. When he's crouched, he walks faster than any other legend while they're crouched. And he can also climb a lot higher. His tactical, he basically throws this silenced grenade. It's a little smoke ball. Disables that whatever enemies it hits or runs through it, they are not able to use any of their abilities, and it also does a little bit of damage to them. His ultimate, he drops a death totem. It basically gives you a respawn point. You place the totem down, you run in. If you take enough damage to get downed or get killed, you just respawn back at the totem. Next up we have Loba. Loba's passive ability, she can see the epic and legendary loot, which are the two best tiers of loot, the purple and gold. You can see them through walls, and it has a decent sized range to it. Her tactical, he throws her bracelet, and it basically lets her teleport to wherever it lands. It is very loud, and there is quite a trail behind the bracelet, so you can see where it's going to land. So it's not really a stealthy escape, but it does help get you a decent distance. Her ultimate, she puts down this black market boutique. It's a little shop, essentially. Whatever area you place the shop down in basically stacks all of the all the loot nearby, and you can pick 2 items from that. You also get unlimited ammo from it, which is good. Next up, we got Rampart. So Rampart is, her passive is based around light machine guns. When she's carrying a light machine gun, they reload faster and hold more bullets. And this includes her ultimate of Sheila, which is the mobile minigun. Her tactical is an amped cover. She basically builds a little wall down. It can be shot pretty quick while it's being built, but once it's up, it's kind of a pain to get down. Her amped cover also builds a little holographic wall. You shoot through it, it increases the damage being shot out of it. Her ultimate, she pulls out a minigun. You can place it down, and anyone can use it. And they also just buffed it, so she can carry it around. After Rampart, we have Horizon. Her passive, you can basically go from jumping off of something straight into sprinting and shooting. It doesn't have the effect of hitting the ground. The tactical is the gravity lift. So it throws a little lift down, lets you vertically hover, and it does last a second, so you can use it for your whole team to move vertically up to a higher position. For ultimate, it throws Newt, which is our little micro black hole robot. It throws a black hole down, and people, projectiles, everything just gets sucked into it. The best use of that, people will usually use it for, throw down the black hole, and then you can throw in, like the Caustic ultimate, you can throw in normal grenades, arc stars, all that kind of stuff, and it gets sucked into the black hole. If anybody's in there, they just take an insane amount of damage. You can run out of it, but it does make you a lot slower, and you basically have to sprint, which means you can't really shoot. So it does kind of trap people into it. Next up, we got Fuse here. Fuse is passive. He can stack extra grenades in his inventory slots, so he can hold more grenades, essentially. And also, he can shoot the grenades out of his arm, and it fires them a lot faster and further. And then there's also less drop when you're going for distance, so you don't have to try and aim it with according to. It does kind of help you aim it a little bit easier. His tactical throws a cluster bomb out of his arm. It's basically a little grenade. It launches out these little cluster explosions that do damage, and they kind of stun the player a little bit. And his ultimate, he pulls out his big fireball gun thing on his back and launches this ring of fire, essentially. Does a lot of damage if you try and run through it, and it is kind of slow, so you can get out of it if you can see it coming. But that can be paired with things like Horizon's ult. So if you throw a Horizon ult in the middle of the Motherlode, it, you know, traps them within that area. They can't exactly run out. And it just, yeah, it has some combinations that can be pretty nasty. On its own, it's not fantastic, but it has its uses for sure. Next up is Valkyrie. As of right now, Valkyrie's one of the newer ones. Her abilities, her passive, you can basically essentially fly around with a little jetpack. It is pretty handy. It also is kind of loud, and you can toggle it from push to toggle or hold. It's a lot better if you hold down the button, because then you can just let go and it'll drop you whenever you want. Her tactical, it throws basically a swarm of like little rockets. It's like a mini airstrike that just disorients and does some damage. It is kind of easy to get out of because it's a small area and it does take time to hit, so just keep that in mind. But it does help push people, like if they're on a high point of interest, it can help people get pushed out of that. Her ultimate ability is the dive. She can basically redeploy. Trigger the ultimate, all of your teammates can attach themselves if they want, and you relaunch into the sky so that you get a second skydive, and it lets you land pretty much wherever you want. You can get shot while you're triggering it, and it will cancel the jump for everybody. As of right now, the newest legend is Seer. Seer is passive. He gets a heartbeat sensor essentially. That when you aim down the sights, it tells you if there's anybody in front of you. Hey, somebody's on your left of where you're aiming, somebody's to the right of where you're aiming, all that good stuff. The tactical, you basically launch, it's kind of like a Bloodhound scan. You throw these little drones out in front of you, and it does damage and basically flies through walls, and the damage does also go through walls. Aim it wherever you want. You can see the heartbeat there, tells you where they are, and it highlights when they're kind of within the range. Shoot it out, it hits them, highlights them, and it does that for your entire team. They can see where they are. His ultimate, he throws a little drone down, a little sphere, and it makes this giant area of effect that anybody within that area is highlighted for your entire team. Everybody can see where the enemies are. It is a pretty handy thing to have if you were looking to be a type of recon, highlighting type of character. He is pretty strong. Currently, that's all of the legends and their abilities, so hopefully that helps pick who you want to play, or at least you can see what their kits are. When you're fighting against other people and you're new to the game, it's good to know what the enemy abilities are, so that way you know what you're running up against and what you can do about it. Adios. Goodbye. Farewell. Talk to you later. Bye.